So even, again, everything what we said was all numbers. Lowercase b is 98. Lowercase c is 99. Z is 120 something or other, probably 123, I think. A is 97. So, you look at this here and you can think numbers, which is why all this math of saying convert A to an integer. Well, you're just saying A already is an integer. You're just saying to Java that I want you to use it as an integer. It already is an integer, but typically because its data type is char, when Java uses it for some purpose, like printing it out, it's going to display it as a lowercase a. But if you say to Java, well, no, actually, I want you to use it as an integer, then the value in memory does not change. It remains 97, or those zeros and ones that represent 97. But this says, well, you're going to use it differently. You're going to display it differently. And that's why you can do all this math against characters, because they are integers. Ultimately, they are integers. So this all works. I mean, z minus a plus 1 is going to be, z is, I think, 120 minus a, which is 97, brings you up to 26, plus 1 would be 27. And then, of course, we're multiplying this by that. So I'm not sure exactly what we're going to get if we do this, but you'll get something. And if we look at the code, we can see how it's doing it as well, which just calls it in and says get. It calls it with these two numbers. So a to z plus 1. It's kind of neat once you understand how the binary works, and that everything's a number. You can actually do, some neat stuff like this where you think, well, math.random, that's numbers. How can I use that with letters? Well, you can, because a letter is a number. When you come down to it, a letter is a number. This shows you the different ones we've got here as well, and we used them. They've got that test random number there. No, but we basically did it in solution. Showed you how that works. So now we start talking about some different ways of designing programs, some methodologies. Stepwise refinement is a popular way. Divide and conquer. It works well with methods and abstracting methods to create things into smaller components. And when you make something smaller and smaller, it becomes manageable and easier to solve. If you see a big heap of trash somewhere and you have to move it, or maybe a whole bunch of furniture that you have to move, and you get together with your team and say, okay, you guys go get this and we'll get that and so forth, you're dividing and conquering. And that's kind of the idea behind methods as well. Print calendar case study. Let us use the print calendar example to demonstrate stepwise refinement. Do I have this print calendar? I think I do. I have something like that. Print calendar. Main. Read input. Print month. Print month title. Print month body. Get month name. Start day. Get number of months. Number of days in the month. That's important. And then let's see. get total number of days is leap year. That's kind of important. So let's see this. So if we were to do this whole thing, we might have create a class, and let's just call it calendar. Okay, so there's calendar, and let's skip this for now. We're going to have the input. We're actually going to do print month, which calls print month title. You're going to have to get the input, I guess, to display the calendar. So why don't we just go ahead and do that? Read input. So to get a month, we're going to need to know the month and the year. So let's make it simple, and let's call it well, we could create some variables here. Int month, int year, because we'll need to know those. Okay, now read input, which would be void read input. We'd have to get our either we'd have to get our I guess we'll just take this. Void read input. And we'll say something like enter the year. And this will be year equals next int. Input that next int. We should wait a more than non-static variable of okay, and then you're going to do the same thing for month. So that's read input. So if you were doing it stepwise, you would test each component. So I would say read input, and then probably do something like system.out.printf to test my data and say month %d, year %d, maybe a \n, and we'd say month year. Okay. Just go ahead and run this. Enter the year. Enter the month. And then I print it out. So now we can say, okay, well, the first part works. That's functional testing. I created the first method or function and tested it, and it worked. So what's next? Print month. We can print month, but we can see that what print month is going to do is that print month is going to need a lot of this other stuff. In this particular case, when you see that it's going to need all this other stuff, the best thing is to start at the very bottom and determine whether or not it's a leap year. So we'll try that one first. This is going to be Boolean. Is leap year. And we simply say, to know if it's a leap year or not, see if I remember my rules, if year %4 is equal to 0, it's possibly a leap year. And year, every 400 years, I believe it skips it. Let's say 400 years is not equal to 0, it's greater than 0, unless it's on the 100 year. Anyone know the leap year rules exactly? Year or year %100 is equal to 0. I think those are the rules. Okay, if that's the case, return true. Otherwise, return false. Okay, so now we might want to test this a little bit further and say system.out.print f leap year. And that's a good question. What is it? It might be %B. I'm not sure what Boolean is, to be honest with you. Now we test this by saying okay, so let's see if that works. I enter a year and I put in 2012 and a month. Leap year true, which it is. It is actually leap year. We run it again and I say 2011, which is not a leap year. So say 12, and we say false. Okay, so now we look at it, and this is just piecemealing it. Coming down and saying, okay, we've done that. Now, next one is we're going to want to try is the number of months, days in a month. This is going to have to return an integer, the number of days. And then how would we do this? We would say something like switch month and we'd say case. So let's see. For case 6, case August, 30 or 31 days. I think August is 30 days or 31. Jeez. I have to pull up my calendar here to see what's going on here. So August is 31 days. So September 9th is the next one. And then November. Okay, those all have 30 days. Pretty simple. Return 30. We're done. Now we're going to say case 2. Could be a leap year. If is leap year, we'll say return 29. Else, return 28. And of course, the only thing left is 31.